Good morning, everybody. Good morning. We're going to talk about self-expression. I had some jokes going on when I came, but I kind of forgot them, which is crazy. However, maybe I'll pick them back up, but I got focused on what I was going to present today, which is self-expression. So I went and I pulled up, let's see, my scriptures because it's hard for a person to get a foundation in an area and to incorporate it in your life when you've been living by others and what they say. Your foundation is generally what you're going to build your life on, and it's going to be sturdy. I had a person that asked me a couple of days ago, why do you think I keep going through situations where everything just comes tumbling down? And I mean, that's scriptural. It says, again, a house that's built on sinking sand, it's going to be washed away. And so if our foundation, our heart is not set on sturdy ground, then what happens is it's going to wash away and the universe is going to require us to rebuild so that it is safe and secure. You know, um, self-expression is about safety and feeling secure in who you are. And that's kind of like why I brought it up because I had quite a few phone calls um, on self-expression and how do I talk about what I need to talk about without there being a confrontation. And I'm going to say this here that in my life, people have saw me differently, but I've always wanted to be introverted. I wanted to be just in my world. So confrontations brought me outside, people provoking or even triggering me. It brought me outside of myself, which was self-centered. So get what I'm saying, because sometimes the things in your life are there because it is teaching you and making you better, right? So in the self-expression, we have people that listen all the time. And I talked about this in a class that I taught last year pertaining to the Gemini North Node. Um, it's about communication. Gemini loves communication. Where's Gemini at in the Bible? Esau and Jacob, twins. Look up Gemini. It is the symbol of twins. And then you begin to see that you can be earthly good and heavenly good. Okay. So the next thing is to move on with the expression is that if you have one person in a workplace or in a relationship, wherever expression may be impeding you to grow or you're not using your self-expression, what's going to happen is that you will become volatile because you're not saying what you need to say. And you'll also feel that people aren't listening to you. On the other end, when you're always listening to people, it does feel like it's not a fair shake, right? But that's because people that are communicators, that's what they love to do. So I taught in my class that if you have people that are communicators and people over here that are listeners, what do you do? What you do is allow time for everyone to speak because the communicator needs to provoke the other person to talk to them. That's why we have problems in communication in our relationships. We don't know how to talk. We were on Sunday and we discussed some of the communication issues. My brother was on with us, and the communication issues are we not looking at the fact that we will go to bed with people before we have a mind-to-mind conversation that's saying, well, what we gonna do? Are we gonna create together? Are we gonna build a future together? We go to bed where it produces babies and then we don't like the person because the production has come now, but we didn't have anything in common. Now, in self-expression, there is a need to pull that out of some people. Like people that I've been involved with made me talk to them. When I was in the salon business, I owned, a couple of hair salons. I started off being introverted. I just wanted to do my gift and get them out because I was great at doing hair. Cutting was a master thing for me. And one day a lady said to me, Kim, I would love if you would talk to me. You are, a master slammer at cutting hair, but I would love if you would talk to me. So of course I was in my 20s then, and I heard her, but I was still very stubborn. My thoughts was like, I ain't doing nothing that I don't want to do. And I know it's a lot of people out there that feel that way. But I heard her because she's a client. And I began to exercise what she was asking me. She was a great communicator. And she helped me, after 20 something years of serving many, many people in Jacksonville. I can't even count. I had so many clients I experienced, and I thank God for them. And the people that worked with me, and those aspects. Uh, excuse me. Um, the people that work with me, I enjoyed it thoroughly because they all made me grow, which is bringing us to self-expression. So what happens when you have someone that you're with or people that you're with that don't listen to you? What happens if you are with people that have ranting and raging type of, communication? They just fly off the handle. I believe that it has been a time and a season for many of us to be quiet and to observe. I'm trying to sit down here, right? Okay. I believe it's been a time and a season for us to observe the behaviors, right? And know that we can balance the feelings of introversion and the fear that comes with coming out of the box for introverts. Because there's a fear when you've been an introvert and you are called to come out and begin to speak. It's not just that your voice was silenced, but you may have been exercising internal abilities to scan situations and learn from them, just as the communicator is to learn from you in the area of silence. Now, how do you promote healthy conversations when you have been shut up for so long? You begin to meditate. Consciousness is within us, and that's where the meditation begins to ruminate, and it begins to show with discipline. This is what Jesus was talking about when he let us know that he went to the mountain, because he had to go away to be quiet and be in quietness. You know what I'm saying? And so because of that, he was able to get centered in his heart. So the person that has problems with self-expression has to learn to go within and get centered so that they can focus on the areas of confidence and assurity, safety within themselves, knowing that they can speak, whether the person hears them or not, whether there is ranting and raging, and even that they can walk away from an immature situation where the conversation is volatile. I believe in conflict resolution. Therefore, sometimes we will feel like we didn't get the part that we needed to say in a situation. But I believe that the universe is watching, God is watching, and your goddess, and it teaches us a maturity that says your time is coming, but I want you to get grounded and centered so that you can say things maturely. I don't want you to be afraid that you're going to lose something because you speak your truth. All of this introversion has been a time, per se, you could think, to prepare some non-communicators to begin to speak. Why? Because it could have been part of our destiny that we were silenced. Some of us are behaviorists. Some of us that are silent and internal thinkers are psychologists. We are advisors. We are also psychiatrists. People that think within have a dialogue within. They speak within themselves, but they have to bring it out. Someone is trying to bring it out. But if it's someone that is confrontational, again, I do ask, people that talk to me about it, you have to find your peace before you can give your opinion or your thoughts on the situation. Because if you jump into someone's conversation of confrontation and arguments, then it's like you're going to be tricked into their energy. You want to learn how not to be there and stay centered and focused. And never be manipulative when you're sharing your point. Just get your point across. So here, self-expression is important for the individual, especially those that had not been communicating, because they won't be able to communicate properly. You exercise everything and speak daily. You speak to yourself so you can become confident on speaking matters. You know what I'm saying? Even reading is fundamental. It stimulates the brain, but it also gives you empowerment and confidence with new words to speak out of that voice, out of your the throat chakra. All right, so I'm going to give you some of the scriptures that I um, pulled up for self-expression. Your self-expression is building your self-esteem. It's making you externally confident. So here we go. Proverbs 31:8-9 says, "Open your mouth for the mute." It says, for the rights of all who are destitute. Open your mouth, judge righteously, defend the rights of the poor. Now, I did put them in the description box, the scriptures, but that one right there is a mouthful, because the destitute and the poor, when we look at the conditions of the world. But I want to go back to us as individuals. Before we can speak out and advocate for others, we have to learn how to get that anger and frustration out of us where we've been suppressed, because that's what's happened to people throughout the years. And many of them will say, well, I was misunderstood. And I believe that it's not just that. I believe that we didn't understand ourselves and how to communicate, because we were never taught. We may have came from families that did not communicate. Their communication could have been whippings, the communication could have been anger. There was no one listening, which means that there's no back and forth conversation as a child. So when you grow up, you're looking at how I'm going to begin to express myself. And I believe that meditation gives you that confidence, and it also gives you the security, because you're working inside. A person that has been an internal speaker wants to bring that information out, but they generally do not, because they're in fear of something, because they're used to internal thinking. As the person that is a external thinker, they use that external all the time, so they have to begin to use internal. This is where wholeness comes in. So if you have internal thinking and external thinking, they come together and they make a wonderful dynamic, simply because the expression of self is balanced now. You feel me? So in the scripture that I gave, there's no mute anymore, because everyone understands the exercise of communication. But the part that comes in is the ego. The ego tells the internal person, you know what you were saying is like nothing. And then the external person is saying, if I don't speak, I ain't got no clout, because that's all I know how to do. This is where I show up. People love me. But what about when you learn something different about yourself and how to express yourself to the world? When you learn something different, then you start doing something different. That's what breaks chains if you've been stuck in life. Someone that is internal and someone that is external need to switch right now. Why? Switch places. Because the measure of coming together within internal and external is where your power is. First of all, you're a powerful individual when you're speaking, but what are you speaking to produce, right? The next thing is external people. Do you know that your words are coming out, and everything that you may not like about the creation of your life is what you are saying? Like, I had a lady that was a friend of mine. She was saying, man, I've been in this place, and I've been going through these sessions with people, and all they do is cuss. That's their privilege. But, that's their self-expression. And for her, that is not hers, right? And so there is a question. The question is, for me, that I accept people for who they are and where they are. I do believe that futuristically we'll see things differently. We'll speak differently because we would have learned from each other and not judged each other, which is so much a part of self-expression. Why don't you speak and why you do speak? Why is there one monopolizing the podium and one that is not, that has, the ability to speak? So those are questions that we have to ask, but the central understanding is your biblical scriptures or your foundation, so you can get to the place where if you've been silenced, if you ain't mad at nobody else, you know that your environment showed you that you could not speak. But it also is said God never gives us more than we can bear. And everything that we've had in life was some type of announcement that you can do it or you can do it better. Not to say that you're challenging others, but you always challenge yourself. We have so many people that are competing with others externally, right? What is that about? If you ain't in the Olympics racing and it ain't about money, don't compete. Compete with yourself first. Even though those people that are running in the Olympics are competing with their self to win, because if they don't get their self up to par in a high standard, physically and spiritually, it's them that didn't make the mark. It's not the people. We're never ever really competing with anybody but ourselves. So your expression is necessary, and you'll find more scriptures to help that down in the description box. All right, so I'm going to give you the affirmation for today because I don't want to keep you guys too long. And it's going to be appreciation. And then how suiting that appreciation would be the word. Appreciation is the word because you learn to appreciate yourself first in all areas, and then you'll learn to appreciate others, which is so powerful and necessary. It says, be willing to express your gratitude and appreciation to the people you care about. Tell them regularly that you love them and thank them for the things they do for you. Enjoy giving them little gifts that will please them and show them how much you care. So now, in order to get self-expression going, you're going to do that for yourself first. Some people caught up in giving to others and not giving enough to their self. That's what this is all about. Let me just give you one more scripture. Proverbs said, whoever isolates himself seeks his own desires. He breaks out against all sound judgment. A fool takes no pleasure in understanding, but only in expressing his opinion. You see, a person that's isolated only wants to be heard. And this is where we have to learn that others have something to say and we have to listen to them. And that's Proverbs 18:1 through 24. All right, I didn't read all of it because you guys need to go and read it for yourself. However, you be blessed and express yourself with love. And you get love by going inside of you. That's the true love. You meet with the King inside of you. You meet with God within you. And then things begin to change. And that's the antidote every day. As you practice that, that's where your change comes. It's not in drugs. It's not in alcohol. It's not in sex. It's not in money. Your changes and even your increase in life is going to come through your engagement one-on-one with God and you. All right. So you guys be blessed, and I will see you tomorrow. Thank you. Share and tell someone about opening their mouth. Also, I do coaching sessions. You can go on Instagram and look at my offerings, and I'm doing a PTSD class. It will be another one starting up around July 7th, and they're online, so everyone in the world can get these classes. PTSD, we just finished the third volume, which is on rape and PTSD, explaining how people are silenced in those areas, and even domestic violence, and encouraging those that have been violated to speak out. Also encouraging those that attend my class to advocate and encourage those in their communities to speak up and keep our children safe, from leaving them with people. And that's sad to say, but a lot of times it's family members that become the predators of sexual violations. with our children. So again, you guys be blessed, be truthful with yourself, be honest, and let go of anything that is not productive in your life. All right? Amen, and be blessed.